I want to say something about the importance of ideas, because gone are the days when you, as the boss, can have all of the ideas. Now, you might be cleverer than everybody else and more experienced than everybody else, but still, you can't know everything. And once you get to be the boss of quite a few people, you're going to have specialists underneath you. You're going to have IT people who are going to have ideas that you won't even understand. And you're going to have marketing people who are going to have ideas that are much better than any marketing ideas you can have. So somehow we have to harvest the ideas from our team. And that takes a conscious effort, I think. Somehow you've got to find ways to harvest all the best ideas from everybody at all the levels. So you've probably got some direct reports and you probably have meetings with them. That's great. But what about people further down in your organization? You might have 3 or 4 or 5 levels in your company. And we want to get ideas from all of them, from the frontline workers, the supervisors, everybody. So how do we do that? Well, one great way is management by walking about, sometimes called MBWA, management by walking about. So every day, it's really important to walk around your whole business. Now, if you only employ 5 people, you're probably sitting in the office with them, so that's easy. But if you're employing 20 people or 200 or 2,000, you need to walk around every day and see as many people as you can. So if you've got 20 people, you can probably see them all every day. If you've got 2,000, you might have to visit a different department or a different site every few days. But you want to see everybody perhaps every month or two, definitely once a year. So management by walking about is really important. And all you do, you just wander around and just chat to people. Just go up to some lady or guy on a machine and just say, how's it going? What are you working on today? Tell me about this job. Or, what do you think of this new contract we've got? And you're partly testing your managers, because you're partly trying to find out whether those messages have even got through to them. You're also taking the temperature of the water. Are these people happy or not? But as well as that, you're also looking for ideas, because you can say to them, what do you think about this job? Do you think it's being done well? How would you do it differently if you were me? What changes would you make? And just harvest as many ideas as you can from everyone you talk to. Because remember, they spend all day using that machine, making that job, thinking, this is crazy. Why can't this material be cut thinner? Why can't we have this? Why do they always give it to us in a big pile? Or whatever it might be. So there can be ideas all the time that you can harvest. I saw an amazing statistic about Toyota. And they were saying that they have a suggestion scheme. And in England, we have suggestion schemes and you get one idea a month. And it's usually rude. It's usually something the managing director should go and do to themselves. But in Toyota, apparently they get 5,000 suggestions a day. Now, imagine if you had that many ideas coming in. Even if only 1 in 10 is good, you've got 500 great ideas every day coming in. Now, certainly in the UK, you're not going to get that from a suggestion scheme. But management by wandering about, you can harvest loads of ideas from people because they've got them, but they have to be asked. Now, another way you can get ideas is back to the floor. There used to be a TV programme called Back to the Floor when the big boss would come down out of his or her office. It was nearly always a man, actually. But they would come down out of their office and they would do the real work. So they'd be emptying bins or making pottery plates or whatever it is in the factory. And just spending a day doing the real work, you learn so much. And there's the boss going, these machines are terrible and this raw material's just no good. And why do we do it like this? And they go, well, we don't know. You're the boss. And you discover some of the madness that goes on. And the teams are only too glad to show you. They're saying, well, look, yeah, we could do it better. Why don't we do it like this? So a great idea to get a whole load of ideas is to go and do the real work for a day. Pick on the worst job in the company. Maybe it's emptying the bins, and do it for a day. Now, obviously that sends a great signal as well that you're prepared to do that work. You've only got to do it for a day. You'll probably be bad at it. You'll probably be exhausted at the end of the day, but you'll have got a whole load of ideas from the people you're working with. And people at the front line are often really open and honest about what they think about the company. Higher up, it gets a bit more political, but the people at the front line, they'll tell you everything. So back to the floor, that's something you should do, I would say once a year, more if you can, but at least once a year you should go and do a frontline job. Now there are a few other quick ideas, for example, breakfast with the boss. So you could have a little system where you come in the morning and you just have something or other for breakfast. Normally you'd probably have breakfast before you go to work, of course, but the idea of this is that you get somebody to come and have a meal with you. Maybe 2 or 3 people, because 1-to-1's a bit scary. So you have 2 or 3 people who come and sit down and have breakfast or perhaps lunch with you. And you just chat to them about their work and how they feel about it and any ideas they've got for improving it. So breakfast with the boss. Even at social events. So when you have a work social event and you're out in the evening having a curry or go-kart racing or whatever your social event might be a listener. Obviously, some of the time you want to be telling them about future plans and what's happening in the company, but also be a listener. Ask them, so whereabouts do you work, and tell me about your job, and so how's it going, and what changes would you make? What do you think we should be doing in the company to make it more efficient? And be a listener at social events. And my final point when it comes to ideas is be positive about ideas. So if somebody suggests something and it's not great, don't just say, oh, that'll never work. That's a stupid idea. Because then you'll never get another idea. So you need to say, that's really interesting. I'm going to investigate that. And then make sure you give them feedback and you come back later. And you might say, I investigated your idea and actually I don't think it's going to work because it's too expensive or whatever. But they'll be delighted that you investigated it and you made the effort to come back to them. And of course, if you're actually going to implement the idea, make sure you give them the credit. Don't claim it was your idea. Make sure everybody knows, I got this idea from Frank. It's a great idea. Thank you to Frank for doing it. Maybe even stick a picture of him on the wall. This is Frank who thought of this idea. So make sure the person gets the credit. You could even give them some money for it as well, if it saves a whole load of costs perhaps. But you've got to be careful about that, because then everybody's going to expect to be paid and maybe they won't always, and it can all get a bit difficult. But that is an option. Or you give them some other award apart from money. So you could maybe give them, a day off or something. There might be other things you can give them other than money, which might be less contentious. But the main thing is make sure they get the recognition for having come up with that idea. So harvest as many ideas as you can from your people. You don't have to do it all yourself.